of an autumn day. The towards our hair was weave a snare. The Queen of Hearts still making tarts, and I not making hay. So I celebrate, be a fallen leaf, the dawning of the day. On Grafton Street in November, we travel lightly, can be seen the true worth of passion's pledge. I saw the danger and I passed along the enchanted way. Well, I love so much by such happiness thrown away. Of the mind I gave her, wrong little secret sign that's known to the artists who have known. Well, I saw the danger. Changes that have come over me, changes that have come over me. The last few days I've been afraid I might drift away. I've been telling those stories, singing those songs, make me think about where I came from. That's the reason why I seem so far away today. Let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. It's Caledonia, you're calling me. Now I'm going home. And if I should become a stranger, no, they don't make me more than sad. Caledonia has been everything I ever had. Now you've moved, and it kept on moving. Proved the points that I needed proving. We lost the friends that I needed losing. Others on the way. I've kissed the girls, I've left them crying. stolen dreams, this is no denying. I travel hard with conscious flying somewhere in the wind. So let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. It's Caledonia, you're calling me. Now I'm going home. And if I should come a stranger, know that it would make me more than sad. Cause Caledonia has been everything I ever had. I kept on moving through the points that I needed proving. Oh, lost friends, I need reason. Find others on the way. Kiss the girls on the left one crying. Stolen dreams, there's no denying. Well, I travel hard, sometimes with conscious flying. Somewhere in the wind. So let me tell you that I love you, and I think about you all the time. Cause Caledonia, well, you're calling me. Now I'm going home. And if I should become a stranger, know that it would make me more than sad. Cause Caledonia, it's been everything I ever had. two. When first I saw the love light in your eyes, I thought the world held not but joy for me. And even though we drifted far apart, I never thought that what I dreamed would be. I love you as I never loved before. Since first I saw you on the village green. Come to me, or my dream of love is o'er. I love you as I love you when you were sweet. You were sweet, 16. First I saw that love light in your eyes, I thought the world held not but joy for me. And even though we drifted far apart, I never thought what I dreamed would be. I love you as I never loved before. Since first I saw you on the village green. Come to me, or my dream of love is o'er. I love you as I love you when you were sweet, when you were sweet, 16. Hungry feeling came o'er me stealing, and the mice were squealing in my prison cell. no, no, we're not. We'll wait. We've Zian out. That's fine. There's no rush. No rush. Yeah, you know, and we've Toby as well coming in. There's no rush. We're going to give it a few minutes just before we start. I just ask any people here if you could turn off your phones just so no disruption and so on. We're just letting the last few people who are outside parking their cars come in, and we'll start then.
We are gathered here today to celebrate the life of our much-loved friend Eddie O'Keefe. The number of people here speaks volumes for who Eddie was and how much he was adored in Dubai. It is a privilege to stand up here and speak on behalf of my great friend Eddie. If Eddie knew how nervous I was, he'd be delighted to have that power over me. He'd be delighted to think while today is a day that we can still hardly imagine is real, it is about sharing memories, stories and moments that remind us of all the good times we had with him. To those of you who unfortunately could not be here and are watching online, we hope you can somewhat feel the love that is present today, and please know that we are thinking of you during this terrible time. To Eddie's mother Catherine, father Tim, siblings Timmy, Belinda and Rosemary, and to his nieces, nephews, in-laws and many friends and extended family at home, our thoughts are with you. Eddie's big bright smile has been spoken about so often over the past number of days, and he would be beaming to see everyone gathered here for him right now. To the Hill House Brasserie, thank you for allowing us to host this evening as we celebrate Eddie. This place holds a special meaning in his life, as it's where he asked Caroline to be his girlfriend, someone who meant the world to him. It's also fitting because of Eddie's draw and passion for the game of golf. Any spare moment he had, he'd be out on the course. So this location could not be more perfect, and thank you again for being so considerate in allowing us to gather here this evening. To the Irish community here in Dubai and others that it has affected, when the terrible news broke last week about Eddie, the community truly came together. People reached out, offering to help in any way they could. Calls were made, and everyone did whatever they could to honour Eddie's legacy. The number of messages has not gone unnoticed, and as time goes on, they will mean more than you can imagine to Caroline and Eddie's family. To the Middle East GAA, thank you for allowing us to use your streaming service today. Eddie would be delighted to think that not just Dubai Celts, but the whole GAA community here in the Middle East is thinking of him, particularly to Jamie, James and Robbie. We're honoured to have Conleth McGeary here with us today. Music played such a huge part in Eddie's life, and Conleth's songs in particular had special impact on him. He listened to them on the way to hurling training, in cars on holidays around the world, and sang different songs himself at any opportunity he had to pick up a guitar and play. Conleth was one of Eddie's favourite singers, and anyone close to him knew how much he loved his music. We are very grateful that he has dropped everything to be here with us today, and let us begin by listening to one of Eddie's favourite songs performed by Conleth. Thank you.
Well, they say people come and they say people go. This particular diamond, this extra special. Though you might be gone, and the world may not know, still I see you celestial. Like a lion you ride, and a goddess you roll, like an eagle you circle in perfect purple. How come things move on? How come cars don't slow when it feels like the end of my world? When I should, but I can't let you go. When I'm cold, cold, when I'm cold, cold, there's a light that you give me when I'm in shadow. There's a feeling you give me, it's ever glow. Like brothers in blood, sisters who ride. Yeah, we swore on that night to be friends till we die. But the changing of winds and the way waters flow, life is short as to fall falling of snow. Now I'm gonna miss you, you know. When I'm cold, cold, when I'm cold, cold, know you're always with me, and the way that you will show, you're with me wherever you go. Oh, I'm gonna miss you, you know. When I'm cold, cold, when I'm cold. So if you love someone, you should let them know there's a light that you left me with. It's ever glow.
Our first speaker today is a friend who Eddie loved. Anto and Eddie hurled together, they socialised together, and I think Anto can attest to this. The really important thing is they became partners when they competed in numerous different events over the years. Eddie's persistent nagging that Anto needed to get training on certain lifts or something was something we all joked about. Eddie and Anto had a great friendship, and a friendship that many could wish for. Please put your hands together for Anto Spillane.
Thanks for that, Tig. So I'm just going to go through some gifts that meant an awful lot to Eddie and just say a little bit about them. And for some reason, the first one is a Limerick flag. I don't know who picked that as number one, but Eddie was a passionate Limerick man. I'd say it was the only time I didn't get on with Eddie was when I used to watch Cork Limerick games with him. So, yeah, fly that Limerick flag. I won't be holding it. The second one is a Celts flag, or the Celts jersey. Eddie's favourite number 8. Eddie, just what a club man he was. When I first arrived to Dubai, August 22, I put a message into the Celts group asking for a spend to training, and little did I know Eddie and his housemate Peter would collect me and drop me home every single training. It was only later I realised it was about 15 minutes out of the way, but Eddie never complained, didn't care. I'm just so grateful that I chose to live in the Marina, to play with the Celts, because I got to know such a great friend in Eddie. Wes will talk a little bit later about Eddie's achievements with the Celts. He'll be there a while talking about them. The third gift that meant a lot to Eddie is his golf head cover that Emma's going to show. So anyone who knows Eddie knows he was obsessed with golfing, and I think it's fitting that we're here in Dubai Hills Golf Club, one of his favourite golf clubs. He loved everything about it, the crack that came with it. I think two of his probably best highlights were golfing with his great friend Ollie in America and playing the Ryder Cup golf course in Rome. Caroline, I don't know how you went on the full round with him there, but he loved that. He always spoke about it. The fourth gift I'm going to speak about is a picture of Eddie's family. So Emma's going to show his family. It was very clear from early on that Eddie was a real family man. He'd speak about his family to people he just met. He cherished you, he loved you, and I know from meeting you that love is very much felt all around. He was so proud to be your son and your brother. He would speak about Catherine, his mum, on a daily basis. He would love telling stories about messing around, whether it was surprising them with trips home. I think one time he even dressed up in an Amazon box and jumped out. That tells you about Eddie's sense of humour, but he loved going home. He loved his sisters, Belinda and Rosemary, and the great relationship he had with Brian and Andrew, his brothers-in-law. And he was just doting about his two nieces and his nephew as well. It was clear he had a very special relationship with his brother Timmy. I actually thought Timmy lived in Dubai before so many people spoke about him, and Eddie spoke about him so much. But yeah, he loved it. I know he loved you and Liana, Timmy. He spoke about you so much. That's a real special relationship you have, and I know that will continue. Eddie had many friends at home, and I do want to mention the love he had for a couple of them. So I think Paddy, Sparky and Munchie, he spent so much time with you. He spoke about you so much, and he loved when you came out to visit himself and Cahill out here. Picture 5 is a picture with Caroline. Caroline, Eddie chased you for long enough. He spoke about you long before he finally made his move on those spins to training. He absolutely loved you to bits. He worshipped the ground you stood on. He was at his happiest when he was with you, whether that was travelling, eating out, pulling out his Invisalign, bringing his Dyson hairdryer on holidays, or having an Aperol spritz. He was just really at his best when he was with you. I think the only time that you disagree with Eddie was when you were on the way back from Australia and he went up to business class and left you down below in economy. I don't know if you forgive him for that. No, but the courage you've shown, Caroline, is just incredible. I know more people would speak about it, and you know you've got friends here for life. We'll always look after you. The 6th gift is a boarding pass. So anyone again who knew Eddie knows he loved to travel. He was so proud last March to visit the Great Wall of China, which was his 7th wonder of the world. And while we took the mick out of him because he kept saying the word 7, it's all he wanted. It's an incredible achievement for someone so young to do that. Yeah, and I think he just loved the adventure, whether it was skiing, helicopter rides, whatever it was. Anyone who was lucky enough to go on a trip with Eddie, there was 2 things that stood out. Number 1, he was unbelievable crack, always up for a song or a bit of devilment. And the second one, he always looked out for you. You knew you were being cared for. And as Laura often said, he'd go full project manager mode if he had to organise any part of the trip. The 7th gift is Eddie's Amazon laptop. So I know again Z will speak a lot about Eddie's time in Amazon. He was loved there, made so many friendships. He was very career driven. He worked relentlessly on his projects. He would often be on calls on our way to training or on the way home, and it was hilarious the way he could just switch on, go full professional, like speak so well, and then he'd turn around, "Jeez lad, I just want a few pints." But yeah, that was Eddie. And even we were in Kyoto, in Tokyo, or in Japan last March, and while we were drinking and doing karaoke, Eddie, with his full samurai Japanese headband on, took a work call. There's a very funny photo, actually, video of that. I'm sure you'll see it. The 8th gift is Eddie's guitar. And again, I know Tig mentioned it, but it's so fitting. He was the first one that actually showed me one of your songs, Conlet. He loved them. And yeah, he was a brilliant musician, singer. There's loads of videos going around of him, which is great. And himself and Timmy were actually self-taught in the guitar. They both picked it up. And I know there's a lot of videos going around of the 2 of them singing, which hopefully we'll get to see in the coming days and weeks as well. Whether it was Rock and Roll Kids, Don't Look Back in Anger, or We've Got the World, Eddie would be the life and soul of many parties. And yeah, I think it's fitting you're here today, Conlet. The 9th gift is a baguette. Don't think I need to say any more about that. Je suis un baguette. And Tom made sure to get the biggest baguette he could find. Look, this symbolises Eddie's love for the crack, as I mentioned already. He had a very unique personality. As I said, you could go from talking to Eddie about property prices in Dubai, investing in stocks, to, "Geez lad, we go to Maget's there Friday, come on." He just had this unique personality, and that smile and laughter will never be forgotten. The last 2 gifts are his gym shoes and the Turf Games banner. So Eddie's passion for fitness, for anyone who knew him, I actually saw pictures of him when he was back in college, and it was hard to recognise him. What did Timmy call him? A little wimp, I think, back in the time. He certainly wasn't that. But Eddie loves fitness. He was so disciplined. I know Tom and Maho are going to speak about that more, but you just couldn't give up if you were on Eddie's team, whether it be hurling or that turf game story Tig was talking about. He asked me one day would I join him. I didn't even know what turf games was, and he said, again, it'll be a bit of crack, lad. And I said, I'll join you. And the next day I got a full Excel sheet. It had like rowing, bike, the times I should be aiming for, the targets I needed to hit over the next few weeks. But true to his word, he said we'd get podium eventually, and we got 3rd last year. He was so proud of that. He wasn't happy with the prizes we got. We just got that sign. And typical Eddie fashion, because he just had such a strong sense of justice and what's right, he emailed a very lengthy complaint to the organisers, saying exactly his thoughts. Yeah, that's it for the gifts. Just to say again, Eddie, you're inspiration to us all. I'm so lucky to have the chance to get to know you. You achieve more in your 32 years here than most people will do in their lives. And yeah, I'll always just remember you as one of the best men I could ever meet. Thanks for making all our lives so much better. I think if there's one thing we can take from here, if we can all be just a little bit more like Eddie, the world will be a much better place. Thank you.
Well done, Anto. I suppose one of the highlights of Eddie's life in Dubai was being part of the Dubai Celts. We could all speak on Eddie's behalf on this one. He absolutely loved the club. Whether it was was hurling on the pitch or celebrating at every Celts event over the past few years, Eddie was always the heart of it all, in the heart of it all. A person who made this possible was Wes, our hurling manager, Mr. Dubai Celt himself, but most importantly a friend, someone who Eddie had great time and admiration for. Wes has been in constant communication with Eddie's families over the past number of days, and if there was anything he could do to help, he did it. Representing the Celts and Limerick, Wes Morrissey.
Thanks, Ty. Good evening, everyone. When you get asked to say a few words about Eddie O'Keefe, it should be a relatively easy task to take on, with little or no prep work needed. Because any day you were in Eddie's company was a good day, and you always felt with a few more great stories to tell at a later date. However, today is very different, so please do bear with me. Since the tragic news broke of Eddie's passing, we have tried our best to be there for Eddie's family, his girlfriend Caroline, his work colleagues, and his wide circle of friends, as collectively we mourned his sudden death. However, over the next 5 minutes or so, I would like to celebrate the life that Eddie lived, because if ever there was a person that lived life to the max, it was him. Eddie loved the GAA and he loved his hurling, so when he touched down in Dubai in early 2021, one of the first things he did was reach out to Dubai Celts GAA, and it wasn't long before he was added to the hurling WhatsApp group. Later that day I texted and asked Eddie the same question I would ask any new recruit: where are you from at home, Eddie? I received a 2-word reply: Limerick, lad. Jesus, I was delighted. Another Limerick man joining us. We texted over and back a bit that day, and I just had a feeling there and then that we'd recruited a gem. How right I was. The Middle East GAA season got going that September, and I got to know Eddie more and more, as we'd often talk about Limerick hurling and how many more All-Irelands could this team win. We'd be half serious, of course, but we'd also be doing it to get a bit of a reaction from the other lads in the group. We had a large number of Kilkenny lads in our squad, and on team nights out, Eddie would give me the wink before turning to Killian and Tracy and say, "Tra, we both know that Henry and TJ wouldn't lace Keane Lynch's boots. There would be holy war in the pub. A huge debate would take place. Eddie would leave them to it and just stand up and walk away to talk to someone else. Mission accomplished." Outside of hurling, Eddie spoke a lot about his family, his mum Catherine, his 2 sisters Belle and Rosemary, and his brother Timmy. I felt I knew Timmy more than I knew my own brother, to be honest, because Eddie would never finish a conversation without mentioning him. He idolised him and was so disappointed when Timmy told him he had to pull out of a planned trip to Dubai in November 2021 because he couldn't get off work. Timmy even sent him a video of him driving to work that morning. What Eddie didn't realise was that video was all a hoax. Timmy was indeed on the flight with Paddy, Sparky and Darren, and he had surprised Eddie at his front door in Dubai that evening. For anyone who has seen that video, the look on Eddie's face was priceless. He was chuffed, and he spent most of the week introducing his brother and best friend to his mates in Dubai. We had a hurling tournament down in Abu Dhabi the weekend that Timmy and the lads arrived. Eddie was selected to play senior as he was flying at training, although I didn't see much from him at training as soon as the boys arrived. I'd get the WhatsApp message 30 minutes before training. "Sightseeing again tonight, Wes." I'd get home from training and see pictures of the sights they were seeing on social media. Not sure you'd call the high stools and Megetigan sightseeing, but I left them to it as I knew Eddie wouldn't let me down below in Abu Dhabi, and he didn't. We were stuck for numbers for our intermediate team for Abu Dhabi, so I asked Eddie if Timmy and the lads would be keen to play. His face lit up. He loved the Celts, and the opportunity to pull on the Celts jersey with his brother meant so much to him. Eddie watched all of Timmy's games in Abu Dhabi and was a proud spectator on the line when our Inters team took on Jumeirah Gales, with Timmy lining out in midfield. 5 minutes into that game, over in front of the Jumeirah subs bench, Timmy pulled a little late which wouldn't be like him, and broke his hurley across a Gales man's legs. Realising he had broke his hurley, he roared across the field to the Celts bench for a spare. But sure, he'd no spare. So quick-thinking Eddie, who was only feet away, pointed to the spare hurleys for the Gales team, which were lined up on the ground. With the game still going on, Timmy leaned over and grabbed one, turned around and pulled again. But unfortunately for Timmy, he was about 3 seconds too late this time, and he broke the second hurley across the same legs of the same Gales man. All hell broke loose, and when calm was restored, Timmy avoided any punishment because the referee was Johnny Murphy from Limerick, and he knew the two boys well. The game continued with Timmy on his third hurley, and as I walked past Eddie, he leaned into my ear and with his big cheeky grin whispered, "That was rehearsed during the sightseeing this week." All I could do was laugh and walk away from him. 2021 was the start of a successful period for Celts hurling, and it was no coincidence that that was the year that Eddie arrived at the club. He was a leader on and off the pitch. He set standards at training, and lads followed. At our own tournament in February 2022, we won both the senior and intermediate competitions, with Eddie captaining the Inters to victory on the night. The iconic picture of Eddie facing his teammates and jumping in the air with the cup in his hand is a magical moment caught on camera. If you ever get a chance to look at that photo again, please look at his teammates. They are fixed on Eddie, their leader and their inspiration. The Eddie Shuffle, as it's now known, has remained in the club ever since and has been used many times during trophy celebrations. Moving away from Dubai Celts for a second, and as I mentioned previously, Eddie was a proud Limerick hurling man. He loved hurling, loved Limerick hurling, and he could talk for hours about it. In 2022, Limerick reached the All-Ireland final with Kilkenny, and in the weeks leading up to the final, Eddie was plaguing me for tickets. According to Eddie, he hadn't a sniff of a ticket and would be very grateful if I could keep an eye out for a ticket for him. Of course, Eddie didn't want one, he wanted 4. 1 for himself, 1 for Timmy, and 2 for their friends. I was getting daily messages and I was feeling bad for the two boys, so I was chuffed when I managed to get 4 tickets, lower Cusick, halfway line. I sent Eddie the tickets, he revoluted me the money, and all was good. 60 seconds later, Eddie texted me and asked me if I knew anyone who needed 4 tickets for the Upper Hogan. All my sweating for days trying to get the lads sorted with tickets when they had their 4 tickets sorted for weeks already. The O'Keefe boys just wanted better seats. I met the lads after the game for a drink and we got a lovely photo together outside the pub on Clonliffe Road. It is the only photo I have of Eddie outside of a Celts team photo, and it's the one I will cherish. When we weren't talking about family, the GAA or you, Caroline, Eddie and I would often talk about our lines of work. I really appreciated that about him, and he was a great man to listen and give advice. We shared a golf cart together back in July, and I told him I had an opportunity for a new challenge with a new company, but I wasn't sure if I'd go for it. "What if it doesn't work out for me yet?" I said to him. Without batting an eyelid, he says, "But what if it does? And what if it exceeds your expectations, Wes? Because I know it will." Words of wisdom that I took on board, and we had a drink to celebrate when I told him the news a few weeks ago. There are so many people to mention and to thank for all they've done for Eddie's family and for Caroline over the last 10 days or so, and I will leave that to the other speakers who will come on after me. However, I do want to mention Eddie's wider GAA family out here in the Middle East, to Robbie and his team in the Middle East County Board, and to all the GAA clubs across the region who reached out immediately, offering their support. I want to say a big thank you on behalf of everyone in the Dubai Celts. The GAA is more than just a sport. It is a family, woven together by community pride and shared passion. Though we may stand as rivals on the pitch, off it we are united. In times of loss and grief, the true spirit of the GAA shines brightest, and we come together with open hearts to support, comfort and carry each other through the darkest days. Eddie loved his Dubai Celts family, and we loved him. His unexpected passing has rocked the club to its core, and whereas the last thing we feel like doing right now is pulling on a Celts jersey without him, we somehow have to find the strength to do so in the coming weeks, as this is what Eddie would have wanted to do. We will never ever forget you, Eddie, and your legacy will live on in our club for years and years to come. My final words are for those Eddie loved most, his wonderful family and his beloved Caroline. There are no words that can ease the deep pain you feel as you face this unimaginable loss. But please do know this. Eddie's Dubai family at the Dubai Celts will always be here for you, to offer support whenever you need it, or simply to share more stories about Eddie. And believe me, the stories you've heard today are only the beginning. There are countless more that reflect the laughter, kindness and warmth he brought to us all. Eddie O'Keefe, forever in our hearts. Rest easy, my friend. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I'd like to take a moment to introduce an inspiring and fantastic woman that I met last week. Z, Worldwide Director of Customer Experience at Amazon, I hope I've got that right, who has played an incredible important role in Eddie's life during his time working with Amazon. Over the past number of days, Z has been nothing short of remarkable. She has left no stone unturned in making sure that Eddie's memory is honoured with care, thoughtfulness and dignity he deserves. Her dedication and compassion and support during this time has touched us all. Please put your hands together for Z.
So a day before Eddie passed, we were in what we call an offsite, where a lot of global teams come together, and Eddie was organizing all of that. And he was really upset with himself that he wouldn't attend day 3 of it. So he took 15 minutes and he sat down and he took his work so seriously. And he was busy giving me the handover. Z, this is how tomorrow is going to look like. This is what's going to happen. And I was in no mood to listen to him because I knew that he had it all under control, and there was no use me paying attention to any of it because he would do it so much more perfectly than I would. And I was just looking at him, and he was just kind of just throwing it at me. This person's going to do this. And I said, Eddie, does Caroline know you're gay? And he was like, Z, I'm not gay. And I said, Eddie, no straight man can have eyebrows as perfect as this. Me and many other people had such a privilege. You all know Eddie as a friend, but I want to tell you what he was like as a colleague and as a friend as well. I have a very large team. Many of them are here today. And let me tell you, Eddie was the only one who listened to me. He was the only one who did what I asked him to do. But I also feel really sad that the side of Eddie I've seen after his passing, the videos and the pictures, I didn't get to see that side because in his last few months, he was so single-mindedly focused on his career. I need to make something of myself, Z. He had already made something of himself, but he had big plans. I've got places to go. I've got things to do. I would ask him to slow down a little bit, but he wouldn't. The job that he was doing was not an easy job. And when I was hiring for that role, Eddie was already part of the bigger team. But when I was hiring for this role, I kept thinking I need somebody with a lot of courage, because this job means that you go and talk to people 3 levels above you and tell them what to do. And I knew that this wasn't everybody's cup of tea. And I wasn't thinking about Eddie. And one morning I get this email, this long email that Eddie had written to tell me why he would be the only right choice for that job. And I thought, that's the courage I'm looking for. That's the person. And in that moment, I made that decision. He doesn't know, but in that moment, I made the decision that Eddie was going to do it. And God, he showed courage. He showed so much courage. He learned on the job. And he got himself to a point where people 3 levels senior than him would come and ask him how to do things. He cared about everybody so much. Eddie cared so deeply. I would say to him, Eddie, why are you helping everybody? He would come running to me in the morning and say, Z, this meeting, can we postpone it to tomorrow because their preparation isn't right? And I would say, so what if it's not right? Let them deal with it. And he'd be like, no, just give me 4 hours today, and I'll get them to the point where they're going to do a good job. He did it free. I didn't ask him to do it. He sometimes wouldn't even tell me. But that's how much Eddie O'Keefe wanted everybody to be successful. He was the most disciplined, most hardworking person I have ever met. And we would take the piss out of him, the team would, because everything was just duty for Eddie, and he had to get everything right. Last week I was in Seattle. This week I was in Seattle, and it was super hard because the last time we went together. And before going to Seattle, I said to him, I said, Eddie, this is the first time we're traveling together. I don't like people sitting near me on the plane. I don't like people talking to me at the airport. And the rest of my team would have just thought, yeah, whatever, and they would have done what they wanted to do. But because Eddie was so disciplined, he had to do everything by the book. I would see him at the airport walking, and then he would see me and all of a sudden start walking the other way because he was told that he didn't have to talk to me. And so I told him, I said, where are you sitting? So we organized, they were not sitting next to each other. And we came back from Seattle, and the next day we went to work, and everybody was like, Eddie, have you told Z what happened? And he was like, no, I'm not going to tell her. She's going to feel really bad about it. And I was like, tell me what happened. And turned out that Seattle is a long flight. It's a 14, 15-hour flight. And his entertainment system wasn't working at his seat. So they couldn't fix it, and they said, we've got another seat. So he pulls up his phone and gets my picture up from my LinkedIn profile and says, is this woman sitting anywhere near that seat? And they said, yes, she is. And he was like, I'm okay for 14 hours with no entertainment. I'm not going sitting anywhere near her. And he was like, Z, I didn't want to tell you because you would feel bad. And I said, Eddie, I absolutely don't feel bad. You did the right thing. I said, you want me to feel bad about your flatbed seat on Emirates? And I want to tell you that Eddie is with us because I was flying back from Seattle. And my entertainment didn't work for 14 hours. And I was like, okay, I got the message, Eddie. And I had the option to move to another seat, but I didn't. Because I wanted to feel him around me. And I knew he was there. If he had known, he would have fallen off the seat. Z wanted him to be around her on a 14-hour flight. But I want to tell you that there is a part of Eddie that will live in all of us forever. And in that sense, Eddie is immortal now. He will show up. He will show up in moments. He will be with you in celebrations and ceremonies. In good and bad times, you get to feel Eddie if you allow yourself to. The love, the care, the kindness that Eddie has shown to everyone is not something that we come across every day. And maybe it's that the good ones have to be taken away. But this was too soon. And Caroline, I will tell you, he loved you so much. The only lighter moments in Eddie's work life that I was with, he talked about you. He would be so proud to take you to a business lunch, or I think it was Coakley for a steak that you guys went last week. And he would always say, I'm going there with Caroline. And we'd say, okay, we get it that you go everywhere with Caroline. But he could find every reason to bring Caroline into the conversation. He loved her so much. I keep reading the email where I approved his time off to get this surgery done. And I keep wishing that I had said, you can't take this time off. And I'm sure all of you have got so many things where we all wish just a small sequence of events could have been different. And Eddie would be here with us today. This loss is so unbearable. If it feels this unbearable to me, I don't know how it feels to Caroline or Catherine and his siblings and all of his friends. But I also want to end on the note, death is so definite, so permanent. It's the loss of hope. No matter how difficult life gets, there's always tomorrow. There's always another chance. With Eddie, there won't be another chance. But the Eddie I knew would want you to be happy. He would want you to remember him with laughter. And as we grieve him, let's make sure we remember the happy memories of Eddie. And I will repeat what has been said before. That on my part, I will try and be a little bit more like him. And I think if we all do that, that's the best way to respect his memory. Thank you.
Sitting, baby, don't really want to know how your garden grows, 'cause I just want to fly. Lately, did you ever feel the pain in the morning rain? The soaks you through the bone. Maybe I just want to fly. I want to live, don't want to die. Maybe I just want to breathe. Maybe I just don't believe. Maybe you're the same as me. We'll see things we'll never see. You and I are gonna live forever. I said maybe, don't really wanna know how your garden grows, 'cause I just wanna fly. And lately, did you ever feel the pain in the morning rain? The soaks you through the bone. Maybe I will never die. Maybe I just wanna be. Now's the time to cry. Now's the time to find out why. I think you're the same as me. We'll see things they'll never see. You and I are gonna live forever. I said maybe I don't really want to know how your garden grows, 'cause I just want to fly. And lately, did you ever feel the pain in the morning rain? Soaks you to the bone. So maybe I just want to fly. I want to live, I don't want to die. Maybe I just want to breathe. Maybe I just don't believe. Maybe you're the same as me. We see things we'll never see. You and I are gonna live forever.
Yeah. Are we good? Yeah. Our next speaker has been described as the bane of Caroline's life. Every weekend, without fail, Eddie got a text from Toby or sent a message to Toby looking to get out on the golf course. During Eddie's first summer in Dubai, Eddie couldn't understand where all the Irish people had gone, forgetting that many were teachers and had headed home for the summer. He threw his name down on random tea sheets and was paired with Toby, and this is where a lifelong friendship blossomed. Please welcome Toby.
Thank you all for coming. Eddie would have loved this. I know it's not under the circumstances that he'd have wanted, but my God, he'd have loved to see you all here. His family as well. It's a tragic loss. Yeah. Sorry. It's a completely tragic loss, and I'm sure everyone else is having difficulty coming to understand where we are. But I just wanted to talk about what Eddie meant to me. And yes, I was his dirty little secret on a Sunday morning. Every single Sunday without fail. If he had spare time, I literally had no idea how he fitted me in. I literally had no idea how he fitted me in. He had so many activities that he spoke about, all the travelling, the comedy shows, like all the things he did with Caroline. It was just immense that he could even make time to play golf, but this was his passion. I know he loved hurling, absolutely loved it, his fitness, and those guys will talk about that later. But yeah, he was incredibly special to me. He was my friend and my golf buddy. He was also my daughter's emergency contact. I literally had no hesitation when my wife asked me, who should we put down? Who's reliable? And I said, Eddie. No questions asked. She's only met Eddie a few times, and she completely agreed. And we loved having that moment that he felt that important to me. That he was my emergency contact, my firstborn. And we met on a night golf at Faldo by pure chance, random tee times. He was late, probably on a work call, trying to hash himself and get out and play some extra golf, because that's what it was all about to Eddie. He was late, teed off behind me, came charging up. I had to wait for the marshal, because there's two guys coming up here, and that was it. Eddie jumped in my cart and became part of my life here in Dubai. And we played a lot at JGE, where he was a member, with the DP World Tour. He loved the Earth course. And every Sunday that's where we were, and we just got on, we just connected. As soon as he jumped in that buggy, I'm sure you all had a similar experience where you just connect with him on such a deep level in such a short space of time. And that's what Eddie could do. And this is a very fitting venue. We played here so many times. This was kind of our home course. If we had a match, a pairs comp, whatever it was, this is where we took people to play. And we loved it here. So this is really good, and appreciate everyone making this happen. He had a pretty tasty swing on him, being a hurler. Irons were pretty good, but driver was always wayward and kind of killed his scores, always. I'm not sure if I was ever that good for his game, to be honest. When I first met him, he was playing off 6. And by the time I finished with him, maybe kind of middle of last year, he was off 12, something like this. And then at the complete resurgence recently, I think Caroline was back in Ireland. He played every chance he could. The guy was playing 4 or 5 times a week. He was surprised he wasn't up with Tommy Fleetwood at Jumeirah Golf Estates trying to get his pro card. But his passion for the game was incredible, when it was infectious. And obsessed with Rory McIlroy, obsessed. And him winning the Masters was incredibly special for that. And the Ryder Cup win on US soil, just on top. Recently was fantastic, so I'm glad he got to see all that. And the thing about golf is you learn a lot about people. Everyone's spoken about how special he is, and I got 4 or 5 hours of his time every single week. And Arnold Palmer famously compared golf. Golf is the most similar game to life. It truly tests your character, exposes your strengths and weaknesses. Weaknesses, he didn't have much. But I just wanted to give, I haven't had the chance to meet Eddie's family before. This is, not the occasion that I wanted to, but a massive credit to his parents for raising such a great human. Honestly, he's a true gentleman. I had to fight him every single halfway house who's paying for an iced latte or a creamy pint, as Eddie would say. Extremely funny guy, successful, great career, super talented. And I want to miss him a lot. He had a huge zest for life, and I've loved hearing everyone's experience with him, everyone that he's touched. It's been incredibly special. And the last time that I actually got to play with Eddie was the pairs competition at Emirates Golf Club. It was an EGF comp. And this kind of gives you a measure of the man. He knew that it was going to be a little while before I was able to get out on my Sunday mornings with him. And with our baby coming, he knew it was going to be a little while. So he'd already arranged to have his High Rocks event in Abu Dhabi on the Saturday morning. but he still signed up to play with me in the afternoon, and this is in July. It's 40 plus degrees, so he's gone out in the morning, driven to Abu Dhabi, done a High Rocks event competitively, not just turning up, come back in the afternoon and played an EGF pairs event with me, 40 plus degrees heat, and we scored top, and he played amazing, and it was such a nice way to kind of close my chapter before my child arrived, and he made that happen, and that's what Eddie was. That is what he is to me. He made things happen. He made it back to our wedding, even though he had a friend's wedding in Ireland, and it's incredibly special. I loved him like a brother, and I'll miss him dearly. I enjoyed every moment I got to spend with him, and we'll all have our own ways to remember Eddie. I'll honour his memory by thinking of him every time I step out onto that golf course. Rest in peace, Eddie. Thank you.
I sail away. Does an angel contemplate my fate? There we go. And do they know the places I will go when we're gray and old? 'Cause I have been told that salvation lets the wings unfold. When I'm lying in my bed, thoughts running through my head, and the feeling love is dead. I'm loving angels instead, and through it all, she offers me protection, a lot of love and affection, whether I'm right or wrong, and down the waterfall, wherever it may take me, know that life won't break me when I come to call. She won't forsake me. I'm loving angels instead. When I'm feeling weak and my pain walks out on one-way street, I look above and I know I'll always be blessed with love. As the feeling grows, brings flesh through my bones. When love is dead, I'm loving angels instead. And through it all, she offers me protection, a lot of love and affection, whether I'm right or wrong. And down the waterfall, wherever it may take me, know that life won't break me when I come to call. She won't forsake me. I'm loving angels instead.
We're going to welcome Wes back up just to speak on behalf of Eddie's family at home, who have sent a few words through.
On behalf of Eddie's family in Ireland, I would like to share the following message with you all. Thank you to all who took the time in organising this celebration of Eddie's life. The Dubai Celts have been a major cornerstone in Eddie's Dubai journey. He would be honoured to have such a lovely ceremony take place for him. We will take solace in hearing your kind words and stories that we know will help sustain us for what is yet to come. Unfortunately, due to the complexity of the repatriation process, the ever-changing information from the authorities, and the uncertain timelines forced upon us trying to get Eddie home, we have been able to join you all today in person. but are with you online and in spirit, and will meet as many of you as possible when we make our journey to Dubai. Over the past 10 days, we have shared a life-shattering experience with you all, the kind which we never imagined we would ever face. The challenge of navigating this harrowing ordeal has been lessened by the love, support and monumental actions of his Dubai family. To all Eddie's friends, without meeting you, we know how much you loved Eddie. The strength displayed in advocating for him, while also supporting grief-stricken Caroline, has shown us why Eddie was able to call Dubai his home away from Ireland. It was all because of you. Caroline, we know how much you and Eddie loved each other. From travelling adventures to sporting events and gym sessions, you were side by side for these past few years. We wish to acknowledge the immeasurable grief and heartbreak you are going through, and we would like to thank you for the joy and happiness you brought to Eddie's life. We want to take this opportunity to convey our heartfelt appreciation to absolutely everyone who has sprung into action these last 10 days, but in particular the following. Pader and Christine, thank you for managing the process of informing our family of the tragic news. A very difficult call to make. We were relieved you both made it out to Dubai so quickly to be with Caroline. We also appreciate everything you have done over the past 10 days, especially within those first 48 hours when you went to meet the doctors and advocated for Eddie. We have faith that your love will support Caroline through the darker days ahead. Amr, little did we think when we met you, Ola and your children 3 years ago and connected our families over such beautiful food in your home, that we would be connected again in such traumatic circumstances. We have no words that would be able to describe our gratitude for what you have done for us these past 10 days. Eddie would be so proud of you for advocating on his behalf and how you have supported our family in our darkest hours. You have brought calm to the chaos, and you have been by our side for every step of this grueling process thus far. We will forever be in debt by you. To Eddie's amazing management team, especially Z, the multifaceted support we have received since the news broke has been nothing short of incredible and has helped us more than you will ever know. Thank you, Z, for the most beautiful tribute shared on the Amazon platform about Eddie. Our broken hearts swell with pride on reading your beautiful reflection of him. He loved working for Amazon, and he was very proud to be an Amazon bar raiser. To Laura, Roche, Wes, Shane, Tom, Tig, Anthony and Cahill for supporting us, Caroline, her family and each other, and for doing absolutely everything you could for us and Eddie. We are very, very appreciative. We have received countless condolences from all those who loved Eddie, and we now wish to reciprocate those condolences to you all, as we are all united in our grief. We don't know where to start talking about Eddie, and we will fully commemorate his life at his service in Ireland, which we will stream for you and to hopefully join us. But for now, we would like to share a few thoughts. Eddie was the baby of our family, and yet we all looked up to him. The excitement in our lives when we knew he was coming home was immeasurable, especially for his mum. He surprised her more than once, showing up unexpectedly and scheming with his siblings under the project name Operation Petronus. Timothy got an extra special package for his birthday one year when Eddie sprung out of a large Amazon Prime box. We joked about it being Amazon's next marketing campaign, and they really will deliver anything A to Z. We had the pleasure of all visiting him at some stage in Dubai, and even though we missed him on a daily basis, seeing him live his best life made us exceptionally proud. Our family WhatsApp was an abundance of photos, videos, jokes, slagging matches, and our last proper conversation was us putting our pictures through ChatGPT and making ourselves look like action figures. Eddie's picture looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime. Huge beaming smile, standing in front of the Burj in an Amazon branded vest, holding a golf club and a hurley. We laughed for days with the slagging back and forth. Belle sent me a picture when she sent on these notes if anyone wanted to see it, so I know the people at the back is a little bit too far away, but to the team here in the front, I have this on my phone, but that's what Eddie looks like in ChatGPT. We laughed for days with the slagging back and forth. One of the most heartbreaking steps we have had to take this week was to set up a new family WhatsApp group for the purpose of managing this process. For anyone that doesn't know Eddie, Eddie's mum, Catherine, is the official president of the Eddie Appreciation Society, a long-term establishment and running joke that began when Eddie was a teenager. Eddie could do no wrong. She would often comment on his perfect dimples and beautiful moon-shaped cuticles. She was very upset when he broke his finger 10 years ago in a match, which resulted in a twisted shape that he referred to as the wand. He was saved in her phone as Eddie, aka the favourite, although we have been told that Eddie put that in her phone himself. His siblings are not entirely convinced. Our last conversation in person with Eddie was all about his future plans, and it was the first time Eddie had ever mentioned the prospect of moving home to Ireland again. It gave us all hope that we would have his energy around us on a more regular basis. Little did we realise when he said, "See you in a few weeks," what that would actually mean and the devastation that lay ahead for us. In the wake of our shared tragic loss, we as Eddie's family encourage you to emulate how he lived his life. Continue to be present for those you love. Be kind. Meet every challenge head on. Believe in yourself and don't forget to smile in the process. Love to you all from Eddie's family.
It's my honour now to introduce someone who knew Eddie in many ways, as a colleague and boss, but most importantly as a dear friend. Eddie spoke so fondly of Amar over time, telling us of how such a lovely man he was. I had the privilege of sitting with Amar for a number of hours last week, and it became very clear why Eddie had such good things to say about him. A constant help over these past number of days, communicating with Eddie's family at home and communicating with us here while dealing with the authorities. Anything that has been asked to be done, Amar was on it. Please, would you welcome Amar?
Good evening, everyone. Sorry. Thank you so much for being here tonight to celebrate Eddie's life. A remarkable man we've all loved. And instead of trying to choose from many amazing stories about Eddie, stories that me and him shared with many of you, I would like to tell you about his impact in life. Eddie and I were not childhood friends, or even school buddies. I've known him only for 4 years. 4 years only. First two, I couldn't understand half of what he said. His Irish accent was so heavy. But 4 years were enough for Eddie to touch my life and the lives of many others around him. He did in 4 years at work and life what others take a lifetime to achieve. Because of that, Eddie became my secret keeper and my go-to person when things became difficult. As young as he was, his wisdom was that of a Tibet monk. To Eddie, life wasn't being about a good manager or a bar-raising achiever or even a magnificent leader. To him, all this came naturally from being a magnificent human being. Eddie and I met at the workplace, a place most people don't expect to form special relationships. That wasn't the case with Eddie. People who knew him at work will say that he stood up for what was right. He listened without judgment. He kept your confidence and he genuinely cared about others. He spared no efforts in helping others overcome difficulties
and become the best version of themselves. This is something I have never experienced in my life. Eddie would bring the best out of everyone that he touched their lives. As we gather here for Eddie, we remember how special all people around him were. To his mom, Catherine, brother, Timmy, sisters, Belinda and Rosie, his soulmate, Caroline parents, his childhood friend, Oliver, who's in the US now, his close friend, Laura, his manager, Z, who he respected greatly, and to everyone else, from the security guard in his building, to his work colleagues, gym group, hailing team, and golf buddies. Everyone who had that adorable connection with him. I say sorry for your loss, our loss. Sorry we lost such a remarkable person, and pray that he is in a better place now. He was a friend, a brother, and a remarkable human being. I was fortunate to meet him at the workplace. Eddie, you will be buddy, you will be deeply missed, but never forgotten. Love you, Eddie. Thank you all.
Thank you, Amar. Many of us here today have got to know Eddie since we moved to Dubai. However, our next speaker has been friends with Eddie since their time in UCC. When Eddie moved over here in March 2021, Carl took Eddie under his wing and showed him around. A close friend and have known each other for many years. Himself and Sinead were neighbours to Eddie and Caroline and have been fantastic this past number of days to call in and reminisce about stories on Eddie. Please welcome Carl Martin.
Thank you, Tyke. I guess I'd like to say a few words over the next few minutes, not just on behalf of myself, but on behalf of three of Eddie's closest friends at home, Sparky, Paddy and Munchie. I guess I first met Eddie down in Cork in 2010 through Sparky. Eddie made it his business at the time to get to know me, mainly because he wanted to use my ID. You see, we were both first year students, but I was 19 at the time, Eddie was 17. And strangely enough, we both had a terrible taste in fashion, and for some reason thought it was a good look to have blonde highlights in our hair. I'd say it's probably the only similarity we had in appearance at the time, and somehow he managed to take my ID, and it pulled it off for him. He managed to get into many of the establishments in Cork. And that was Eddie all over, confident, charming, full of mischief, and always managed to get away with it. Eddie spent a lot of his years in Highfield Avenue during his UCC days. His house was always a warm and friendly one, full of conversation, crack, and by God there was plenty of slag in there as well. It was the kind of a place you drop into to kill a few hours in between lectures, and more often than not you'd spend a lot longer than planned. In 2012, we both jetted off to Cape Cod on a J1. Hyannis was a small coastal town in Cape Cod, in the state of Massachusetts, where hundreds of Irish students used to flock every year, kitted out head to toe in O'Neill's gear, in search of whatever type of job and with cash in hand you could get, landscaping, construction, you name it. But that wasn't Eddie's style. Eddie rocked up, CV printed out, suit pants on, shirt, pounding the pavements of Hyannis, looking for work. He ended up eventually getting a job in a car garage, parking cars on the ferry port that headed out to Martha's Vineyard. And by the end of the summer, he had a ridiculous farmer's tan that we used to slag him on a daily basis. Eddie would also spend all his wages in Hollister and Abercrombie, coming back to his probably questionable sense in fashion at the time, but thankfully it improved before he got to meet Caroline. One thing from that summer that always sticks out to me about Eddie was he would call his mum Catherine literally every single day without fail. The rest of us might have checked in once a week if we remembered, but there he was, out on the deck, phone in hand, chatting away. At the time we'd slag him, but really it was very endearing. It showed the kind of person he was and the special bond he had with his family, especially with his mum. Another memory from that summer that I'll always look back and laugh on is I had to head back early to repeat a few exams. Eddie in the meantime travelled to Boston to see Coldplay. Now this was before the days of Snapchat and Instagram stories and whatnot, so I was down in the library in UCC, I signed into Facebook, and I see Eddie checked in Fenway Park, living his life, watching Coldplay. And I guess, you know, Coldplay went on to be a huge band of Eddie's in terms of he was a massive fan. And it was only fitting he went then to see Coldplay with Caroline in Rome. And as mentioned earlier, even managed to get a round of golf in at the Marco Simone Ryder Cup venue as well, so fair play to him. Eddie's first apartment in the Marina Trident residence was the ultimate bachelor pad. It was the setting for many a post-brunch session or sing-along, but Eddie was mad for organising things. Even talking to the lads at home, they were saying that, you know, every year he'd be the one that would organise the utilities, he'd be the one that would organise the accommodation in Cork for the next year. He called everyone else useless, but deep down he absolutely loved doing it. He just loved helping everybody else. When he moved to Dubai in April or March, I think it was 2021, I met him in Barasti the day after he landed. And believe it or believe it not, but on that day he told me he wanted to join Jamira Gales. And in his words, their gear is unreal, lad. Thankfully I managed to talk him into joining the Celts. And fast forward a few months later, I think Wes had him signed up and he made his debut in Sharjah. I think it was Friday the 10th of September. It was his first game. And then a few weeks later, he had his first official tournament, which was in Al Ain. I think it was only fitting that the last day he put on the Celts jersey was back in Al Ain again. Also, I guess through the Celts, Eddie got to make so many friends, which are all here today, and it's fantastic to see. But of course, he also met his true love, Caroline. I'll also really miss Eddie on the golf course. He was the biggest hype man you could ever ask for. Always saw the good and focused on the positives. Anyone who's ever played golf with me knows the positives can be few and far between, but Eddie always managed to find one. Even if he was having a shocker himself, he'd often say, "We'll find it on the next hole, lad," and somehow you'd actually believe him. That was the thing about Eddie. Wherever he went, he brought people together. He had this great energy, fun, easygoing, and full of life. You could go months or years without seeing him, and the minute you did, it felt like time just hadn't passed. What always stood out about Eddie was how effortlessly he made everyone feel included. Whether it was a night out, a game of golf, he had a way of making you feel like you belonged. That's a rare gift. I think it's something that we'll all be able to carry on with us. On behalf again of myself, of Mark, Paddy, and Connor, I want to extend our heartfelt condolences to Eddie's family, to Caroline, to all his friends here at home, his colleagues, everyone who had the pleasure of knowing him. He was one of a kind, loyal, funny, and just a brilliant friend. Eddie, you'll be missed dearly, but never forgotten. Your light, your laughter, and your spirit will live on in all of us. Rest in peace.
You look so wonderful in that dress. I love your hair like that. It falls on the side of your neck and shoulders and back. We are surrounded by all these lies, people who talk too much. You've got the kind of look in your eyes, anything knows but us. Should this be the last thing I see. I want you to know it's enough for me. It's all that you are, it's all that I need. So in love, so in love, so in love, so in love. You look so beautiful in this light, your silhouette over me. The way it brings out the blue in your eyes, Tenerife Sea. All of the voices surrounding us here, they just find out when you breathe. To see the world, and now I'll disappear into wilderness. Should this be the last thing I see? I want you to know it's enough for me. It's all that you are, is all that I need. So in love, so in love, so in love, so in love. Lumiere, darling. Lumiere over me. Lumiere, darling. Lumiere over me. Should this be the last thing I see? I want you to know it's enough for me. 'Cause all that you are is all I ever need. So in love, so in love, so in love.
Just 3 weeks ago, Eddie, Tom, and Shane, or Maho as we all know him as, stood side by side at the Primal Games, laughing, competing, and pushing each other to the limit like they always did. None of them could have imagined that day would be one of their last memories together, but something both Maho and Tom are delighted to have now. Tom, a year ago, a video of you cheering on Eddie as he got a PB in a lift during the Turf Games did the rounds, and you were always a cheerleader for him while you were coming back from injury. Eddie was chuffed to have you back, and you were so close, and he was delighted to have you back. Maho, a friend with Eddie since you moved out here. You have shared many memories. You've competed together, hurled together, and we're just great friends. Both of you lads have done so much this past week, and I think Eddie would be smiling down watching you. Looking through the many photos that people have sent of Eddie over the past number of days, you have some of the best pictures side by side with Eddie smiling in them. Tom and Maho.
I'm just first going to read a few words from Peter, Eddie's good friend and former housemate here in Dubai. It's hard to put into words what it meant to know Eddie. We shared some of the most incredible adventures together, from the deserts of Jordan to the beaches of Zanzibar, the chaos of India, the serenity of Nepal, the beauty of Bali, and the wilderness of South Africa, just to name a few. No matter where we went, Eddie had this unbelievable way of making every place feel like home, mostly because he already made friends with half the locals by day 2. Living with Eddie was something special. You couldn't find a more thoughtful person if you tried. We had a good system of doing each other's washing, making sure breakfast was ready in the morning before work, and ending the day with what Eddie proudly called a cup of scald. Those quiet moments, laughing and catching up after a long day, are memories I'll carry with me forever. Eddie was the kind of friend everyone wishes they had. Always at the other end of the phone, no matter the hour. Always ready to help, to listen, to cheer you up. His positivity was absolutely infectious. You couldn't help but become a better person just by being in Eddie's presence. And then, of course, came Caroline. When she moved in with us, I'll be honest, it felt like she was third-wheeling our relationship for a while. But seeing how happy Eddie was with her made it an easy transition. Knowing Eddie was a privilege, one of my life's real blessings. He made the world brighter by just being in it, and leaves behind a legacy of kindness, laughter, and love. To Caroline, his lovely girlfriend. To Catherine, his wonderful mother. To his brother Tim, and his sisters Belinda and Rosemary, and all the extended family, my heartfelt condolences. Thank you for sharing Eddie with us. He'll never be forgotten. Rest easy, my friend, until we share another cup of scald together someday. Pete.
Afternoon, everybody. I just, standing here, I just have the word lad in my head the whole time. So Eddie finished every sentence with lad, 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 and I just honestly can't get it out of my head. Myself and Tom will talk a little bit about the sporting side of things, but what everyone said so far has been wonderful. It's been a brilliant tribute to Eddie. It shows everybody who he was and why he was loved. From the moment we met on the Celts intermediate team, the connection was instant. But that was like so many others. The two of us flying into tackles, turning to each other after trainings and matches with that little grin and saying, "I fucking love it, lad." From there, we went on to pushing each other in the gym, turning pain into purpose as we threw ourselves into CrossFit and hybrid competitions, finding a new passion that drove us both on. One of our proudest moments was coming third in the Turf Games last year, and we were already planning our charge for first place in a month's time. Eddie was always all in or all out, whether it was sports or his social life, and it was one of his greatest traits. The long messages before tournaments, the Excel breakdowns of every station in our competitions, the relentless drive to get every detail right just showed who he was. A leader who brought energy, madness and belief. Eddie had a strange obsession with pain and dark places no one wanted to go, but he took us with him every time, dragging us on, lifting us up, turning teammates into brothers. Rest easy, brother.
Thanks, lads. It's funny, even though I'm standing here now, and obviously we're talking about the sport and stuff the way we loved. My phone just buzzed there a while ago, and my whoop said activity detected. He's not even here, and he's still getting me to work out. Just a few words of mine about Eddie. These are just some phrases and traits that I associate with Eddie. Well, lad. All right, fella. It's all in your head, lad. Eddie is funny, witty, kind, an iron will, pure determination. But the most important things for me, he was caring, supportive, and inspiring. I first met Eddie when I was on holidays here in 2022, and straight off the back, he showed his traits. He looked across the Barasti bar and saw a loud, naive Irish lad with a Bank of Ireland card in his hand, ordering around Viagra bombs. Eddie was quick to guide me in the right direction, ensuring that a round of Jaeger bombs probably wasn't the right thing to get if I was to make it by the end of the holiday. That was night 1 of the holiday. As I finally moved to Dubai, Eddie continued to make sure that he was there to guide me and support me with everything this crazy life in Dubai throws at you. We bonded over our love of hurling, the gym, fitness, and lifting heavy things, to which, because of this, we later bonded at having bad backs. Eddie knew I loved the gym and fitness, but because of my back, I couldn't compete with him and the lads in many of the competitions out here. That again didn't stop him from supporting me, and he was always quick to fill me in with all the latest workouts and reminded me that next year you'll be with us, lad. Apart from Caroline, I was his and the lads' biggest cheerleader, roaring him and the lads on in any competition. I was honoured that this year I was able to change from cheerleader to teammate, competing with him and Maho in the primal race. Again, he guided and supported me, making a team plan, sending me on all the right diet and equipment I needed, even offering to buy me a weight belt for my back or borrow his own. He even offered Caroline's belt as well, but we both agreed that's probably a bit too small. During that competition, I realised how inspiring he was. When I found things were going so tough, he smiled, looked me dead in the eyes, and tell me, "It's all in your head, lad. We do this all day long." And he led me right to the end of that race. He's a man that I inspire to be like in every single way, even though I'll probably never get his height. Eddie, you are my brother. And Caroline, I promise that me and the lads will be a brother for you forever. I know that in anything I do, or indeed anything we all do in life, if we just take on the way Eddie lived his life, every single day, I promise you, yet I absolutely guarantee you, that you will reach new heights you never knew were possible. Till I see you again, buddy. Rest easy.
I suppose, where do I start with our next speaker? Laura was one of Eddie's closest friends here in Dubai, and the loud roar of "Maloney" would often echo around whenever he saw her. The crack, the jokes, and the love they shared as friends was something Eddie was so proud of and truly cherished. Laura's caring nature has always been evident, but over these past few days, she has been incredible, going to every length she could to help in any way possible. Please give a huge warm welcome to Laura Maloney.
Yeah. Okay, bear with me through this. Yeah. Sorry. Thank you. It's so hard to put into words how amazing Eddie truly was and how much he meant to me in my life. We first met on St. Patrick's Day 2022 when Annie introduced us in Phileas Fogg's, and we chatted about the upcoming spring break holidays. He got wind I was organising a trip for a gang to Zanzibar. He looked at the itinerary for the trip and says, "Maloney, I like the look of that. Throw me down in that Excel sheet too and we will lift it." That was the first of many adventures around the world together. Not long after Zanzibar, with our bags barely emptied, we were packing them again and headed for Sri Lanka for another incredible trip. One Friday evening in November 2022, Sinead, Annie, Tig and Roche, get that cat away, sorry, or else I'll definitely lose it. Waking up in Hunter Valley on Christmas Day with Tig and Roche on the floor at one side, My brother James and Tig's brother Mal on the floor at the other side. And Eddie, Caroline and myself all squished into the bed is a Christmas morning that I will never forget. Every kilometre of that road trip, Eddie always had the tunes going, and as long as he was kept fed, the vibes were always high. Our most recent trip was to Japan and South Korea for spring break. Eddie entertained the people of Tokyo with numerous songs at karaoke bars, and Don't Look Back in Anger was sang at every chance. Himself and Anto could have given the tour of Hiroshima. The information knowledge they both had was incredible. From all these stories, it's clear that Eddie never missed an opportunity to travel and making lasting memories with Caroline and his friends. From Kathmandu to Korea, Eddie never missed a chance to start a sing-song. These are stories and memories I will cherish forever. It's clear from this week alone that he has made an impact on everyone who's walked into his life, and he has left such a gorgeous legacy behind him. While traveling was such a big part of our friendship, Eddie played such an important role in my life here in Dubai. Sorry. He was one of my closest friends here from day one, and he was always here to support me when I needed him. He was one of the most caring. He was the most caring person in the world who would help anyone, and he really meant so much to me. I will forever miss Eddie, and I know he's here looking down on us today.
Eddie, as much as he believed he was good at them, was absolutely terrible at doing accents. And I think his worst was when he tried to do an Armagh accent. We Roche would be the phrase. Roche and Eddie had an amazing friendship, having travelled to all corners of the world and making memories that will remain forever. But it was the small things that made them so close. Eddie would get calls asking his opinion on cars or how things worked or should be done. And there's a moment that has always stayed at Roche when she thinks of Eddie. During the Rose of Dubai, Roche, a contestant, and Eddie, an escort, he produced a beautiful and personable Armagh flag which had imprinted all the things that were important in Roche's life. This is something Roche has held on to dearly and shows the thoughtful and generous person Eddie was. Neither of them are afraid on the mic. Many's a sing-song has been had, and that is why Roche is going to sing a song Eddie loved to sing for us all here tonight. Please can we welcome Roche Hendren.
I was 16, so were you, and we lived next door on the avenue. Jerry Lee was big and Elvis too, blue jeans and blue suede shoes, and we never knew what life held in store. We just wanted to rock and roll forevermore. We were the rock and roll kids. Rock and roll was all we did, and listening to those songs on the radio. I was the girl next door. And Mary's down at the record store. They don't wanna be around us no more. Golden oldies, but we hardly speak. Too busy running to a different beat. Hard to understand. We were once like them. How I wish we could rock and roll over again. We were the rock and roll kids. Rock and roll was all we did. And listening to those songs on the radio. I was yours and you were mine. That was once upon a time. Now we never seem to rock and roll anymore. I was yours and you were mine. That was once upon a time. Now we never seem to rock and roll. We just never seem to rock and roll anymore.
Eddie, a true gent, one of a kind. You've been with us all week. You haven't left our minds. One in a million, the words that fit you in every way. We'll need your guidance more than ever now, especially today. The 7 wonders of the world, they really deserve to mention. It was your goal to see them all, they got your full attention. All day, no quit, your motto, your way. You lived life so fully each and every day. South Africa, it was one of our best trips. You spoke about it so much, Caroline said it actually gave her the ick. Generous, positive, kind, hardworking, a loyal friend too. You gave your best in all you do. From lending a travel plug to a Dyson hairdryer mid-trip, always organised, caring, and keeping us all well equipped. Caroline, the things you've had to face, the bravery you've shown, he was so, so proud of you and all the things, all the ways in which you had grown. The Celts will remember your big bright smile and the passion you'd invest, committed, a leader who gave nothing but your best. You chased the world, travelled far and wide, Je suis un baguette on French TV, you were bursting with pride. Here's to Eddie with a heart of gold, a life well lived, a story told. We can still see that smile, your story stays in every heart you've touched along the way. Thank you.
Nobody deserves to have their world turned upside down the way Caroline had just over a week ago. She has lost a life partner, and no doubt their future was going to be strong and bright together. I had the joy of moving to Dubai the same time as Caroline in August 2021. It took until our second year out here, plenty nights out, for suddenly Eddie to come along and swoon Caroline, and suddenly they became known as a duo. Caroline and Eddie, Eddie and Caroline, they did everything together, from gym to eating out to meeting friends. Over the past number of days, we've got to see Caroline speak so fondly of the man Eddie was, setting a bar nearly almost unrealistic for us all to try and meet. I've seen a person so upset with grief, but so strong at times as well. And Caroline, I can only say Eddie would be so proud of how you've handled yourself this past week. Remember, we will always be here for you. Dubai is your second home. Please, can everyone give a huge welcome to Caroline.
It is really hard, but it is really important for me to speak here today about Eddie, the absolute love of my life. I know there's not enough time nor enough words to truly express to you all the enormous loss that Eddie is to so many people. I want to give you a glimpse into the wonderful life of love and happiness that we carved out together here in Dubai over the last 3 years. I met Eddie in May of 2022, and we went on our first date. Suffice to say that I didn't let him off easy. I was very cautious. I had not given my heart to anyone before. We had a few bumps along the way, but after a typical Celts night in McGettigan's on the 5th of November 2022, our love journey began. I could see what a genuine person he was, how honest he was, and I remember thinking, my goodness, he really wants to get to know me. It felt really special from the very start, and I thought we were on to a good thing. Then, 3 weeks later, I remember leaving my classroom one morning and my friends ran up to me and they just shouted, "Oh my goodness, check Twitter now. That guy you're seeing, he is trending. He's gone worldwide, it's viral. Je suis une baguette. I am a baguette." Typical Eddie humour. I have always reminded him that he was a lucky man to get me to stay after that. Although he did get a bit of a lifeline from Laura Maloney, who kept whispering in my ear, telling me, "He's so amazing, please give him a chance." That Christmas, he asked to meet me at home. He was going to spend Christmas down in Bantry with his sister Rose and her family. I snuck out of my house on Christmas Eve to go meet him. He asked me, "Where is halfway between Kilbrittain, the village I live in, and Bantry?" I told him Clonakilty was the halfway mark, and for those of you who may know West Cork well, you'll realise what a disservice I was doing to Eddie. He spent 45 minutes off course down the icy roads and back boreans of West Cork just to meet me. I knew I met a real man when I landed off that flight New Year's Eve back to Dubai. He was standing in Terminal 3 of DXB Airport with a Costa coffee in his hands at the arrivals, and I just remember thinking, wow, this guy really cares. I started getting small tokens of appreciation. Ice cream sent to my door when I wasn't feeling well while he was at work. Pickups and drop-offs without expectation. I made a list for Eddie. Reasons to let him go and reasons to keep him. The reasons to stay were overwhelming, and that's when I knew I owed it to myself to open up my heart and to take the leap. I'd never had a boyfriend before, and I'd never fallen in love before. I remember thinking like I was on a roller coaster, and it was all going so quickly. He brought me right here to the Hill House Brasserie where we're all here this evening, which holds such fond memories, and he decided to finally make it official. With that came the opportunity of a lifetime to join him as he turned 30 and to share an incredible adventure to South America. It was amazing. It was amazing to really fall in love with someone on the other side of the world. No distractions, no work. No phone coverage when you're in the depths of the jungle in Colombia, or you're out in the Galapagos Islands in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. I remember saying to my parents before I went, if things don't work out, what am I going to do? And they reassured me, and they said, don't worry, get to an airport and we'll get you on the first flight home. After 6 weeks, when my time came to come back to Dubai to start my new job, and I had to leave Ed carry on with his travels, I sobbed my way back to the airport. I was after having the most amazing weeks of fun, of love and of memories. And we were head over heels in love since then. And that was despite not having had access to a proper shower along the way. Eddie was cut from a different cloth. He may have seemed like a regular lad to everybody else, but he had this complete sincerity and such a soft, kind heart that I got to see every day. The ordinary things weren't ordinary for us. We travelled to Bali, and he asked me to move in with him. But before we left the airport for our flight, unbeknownst to me, he was after taking the key of the apartment we had in Dubai and put it into his suitcase, in pure typical Eddie style. He wanted me to make sure that I knew my worth. He wanted me to feel special. He brought the key as we sat in a rice field out in Bali, and we chatted about our future and how happy we were and how happy we made each other. We spoke about all of our hopes and our dreams, and he told me to close my eyes, and he put the key of the apartment into my hands. And he asked me to move in, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how my life was panning out and how happy I was. Eddie left us Thursday, the 9th of October, in the prime of his life. Why? We don't know. But I do know he left with so much love in his heart and such an understanding of how loved he was. He loved really hard. He used to ask me, he said, "Caroline, how do you know that you still love me?" And I used to tell him that when I get texts when I'm at work and I see your name coming up on my phone, I still get butterflies in my stomach. The teaching was coming second best. I asked him, "How do you know that you love me?" And he said, "Caroline, your emotions are my emotions. When you're happy, I'm happy. When you're sad, I'm sad. When you're anxious, I get a pain in my stomach too. I've been heartbroken, and my heart has been in pieces since the 9th of October. For the first time ever, I'm really hoping that while my heart is broken, Eddie's, you're really happy." We had so many plans together. We were going to go home in a couple of years. He used not like to admit it to people. He used to always say, "God, no, how would I ever leave the golf out here?" I'd say, "Eddie, there's golf and there's CrossFit back home." And he used to say to me, "Well, good luck to you, Caroline, trying to get up at 5 a.m. to do CrossFit back home in the winter mornings when you have to defrost your car windscreen first." But we were planning to move home. I had won the Cork-Limerick battle. We were going to go back to West Cork, and we had plans for our family. He loved his family. That made my heart so warm. I knew we shared the same values and the same morals. He spoke so highly of his mother, Catherine. The relationship that they shared was so special. He knew she found it difficult with him being so far away, and when he wasn't working, his annual leave days were precious, with a fine balance trying to travel the world, but also make time for those that he loved, especially his sisters Belle, Rose, and his brother Tim, and of course his beautiful nieces and nephew. They just championed for his success in both his personal and his professional life. My family absolutely loved him. They were so glad to see me so happy for the first time in my life. My dad, he really had passed the baton over to Ed. He knew that there was someone who was taking care of me every day, looking out for me and protecting me. He was so welcomed in West Cork. My mom couldn't wait to see him come through the door. The relationship that they had, I've realized in the last week, went much further than I have ever known. The amount of texts that Ed had sent to her unknowns to me, sharing information with her that I hadn't, and telling her how I was getting on and reasons to be proud of me. my brother Kieran, and my two sisters, Katie and Ellen. They thought he was great crack, and they were so happy to have him as part of our family. Eddie used to always say, "Gosh, your family love me." He was right. Most recently, in the last evening we all spent together was at Oasis with my family in August, and Tim joined us. It was such a fantastic occasion to have our families blended together. Eddie was such a charmer. He knew how to get on the good side of people and have the crack. As we were standing in the queue, I left to go to the toilet in Croke Park. Eddie was with Tim and my brother Kieran. As I left, Eddie turned to Kieran and said, "Unreal lad, she's gone. Come on, let's get on the pull and get you a girlfriend." My brother Kieran is 25. Ed turned around and started chatting to this woman, trying to help Kieran out. And Kieran turned to Eddie and he goes, "Eddie, mate, what are you at? She's literally double my age." To which Eddie replied, "Oh, Kieran, you've a lot to learn yet, lad. The way to get to the girls is through their mothers." Minutes later, Kieran was on FaceTime to a young girl from Mayo. That really just sums up his character. To just have fun, have the crack, and just go with it. Eddie's passion in life for all that know him were extensive. He loved his job at Amazon. He was utterly passionate about it. He loved the challenges it presented and the people he built relationships with through Amazon over the last 10 years. From one of his very close friends, Ollie, in Cork, to Amor, and to Z, here in the Middle East, and every valued colleague in between. He was passionate about CrossFit. He worked so hard in the gym. And for those that have known him, you'll have seen the man that he grew out to be. He'd be delighted to hear me say that. He would wake up in the mornings and say, "Caroline, your body will do what your mind tells it to do. All day, no quit." He was passionate about golf. I used to always laugh and tell him that I was going to be a golf widow for the rest of my days. It's funny how you can get such joy when someone is so passionate about something. I never liked golf, but I sat up here last April with Ed until 5:30 a.m. in the morning to watch Rory win the Masters. I've never seen such joy in someone's face in my life. I didn't know if I was happy for Rory or just happy for Ed. He was passionate about the Dubai Celts. Both he and I together have had the best of fun and made the best of friends. We truly are surrounded by the kindest of people. We have lifelong friends who I will be in debt to forever for the support that they have shown this last week. Last Friday we drove to Allain for what I didn't realise was going to be Eddie's final tournament. He came back from Allain that night in the car and he was so happy. He said he felt so fit and had so much fun. It was, he said, one of his favourite tournaments that he had out in Dubai. Eddie found himself in Dubai by default through COVID fallout and the borders in Australia closing. He always laughed and said he didn't know much about Dubai beforehand, only that there was a huge amount of Irish teachers and air hostesses here. I really do believe that fate brought Eddie to Dubai. I believe we were destined to be together, even if only for the short time of 3 incredible years. His friends here in Dubai all know the 5 pillars he considered goals in his daily life out here: golf, fitness, good food, the occasional pint, and TLC from Caroline. Now, I hoped it wasn't quite in that order. Going to bed, he would say, "Great day put down, hit 3 pillars." Life is so unbelievably cruel. It's really hard to comprehend how one moment someone is full of life and the next moment they're gone. He was in the prime of his life, and we were robbed of a future together. And I have absolutely no understanding why. The last text I got from Ed said, "I love you, babe. I'll see you soon." At 10:03, the morning he died. I'm so thankful for my family, my friends, and my support network who have come to help me try and bear this unimaginable tragedy in my life where my world has just flipped upside down in an instant. We've had friends in the apartment on rotation every moment of the day. I've had friends who have travelled on the first flight from Sydney to be with me in Dubai, and I have other friends who are also about to board a flight back to Ireland. I can't express how grateful and thankful I am to all of the people who are keeping me, Ed's family, my family, in their thoughts and prayers. Those who have literally dropped everything to try and help us right now in our time of need. I know Eddie would be so grateful to you all, who are too numerous to mention, but you know who you are. And please, stay close to help us who grieve him and his unfathomable loss. I have no idea what my future is going to look like. My life feels so uncertain right now. But I'm honestly able to stand up here today in front of all of you and confidently and proudly say that I have absolutely zero regrets. 3 years of pure love, kindness, and honesty. And I'll be so forever grateful to you, Ed, for that. He was the first person I ever loved. He taught me how to love. He told me he loved me every day, and I sent it back. If there is anything that I've learned, is it's so scary how your life can turn upside down in a moment. And suddenly, in the midst of all this, I can't stop thinking about Ed and telling everybody about the little things of our relationship. The cards, the love letters, our private jokes, all the little things that made our relationship so special. It really takes something like this to give perspective in life and to really cherish the little things. It's an absolute testament to Ed, the level of support that has turned out here today to send him off from Dubai. It's been absolutely heartbreaking for me, his family, my family, and his many friends. And the last couple of days has brought so much uncertainty that has made this a very difficult process for us. But we know we're supported with you all every step of the way. If there's anything to learn from it, here's a lesson from Eddie. Love hard, be happy, do the things in life that make you happy. Go travel and go see the 7 wonders of the world if that's your ambition. Play your rounds of golf. Go tell the people that matter that you love them, because you truly all never know what's just around the corner. Eddie was the love of my life, and I his. He's a special place in my heart forever. He truly was 1 in a million. He left me with so many little things and quotes that he used to say every day in this last week, and they felt like they're a little bit more applicable to everything now. Ed used to say in the gym to me on Saturday mornings, he'd say, "Caroline, I love you, let's go. We're going into the pain cave. It's going to be really tough, so bring a torch. It's going to be dark, but the light will show you the way." And I find a much deeper meaning in this now since October 9th. I'm nothing short of just being absolutely blown away by the level of effort from everyone that has tried to move mountains this last week to help in any way humanly possible to ease this horrific burden. All of our friends from the Celts, to each and every one of you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. There's so many people that are going to miss Eddie beyond measure. His friends at home, Paddy, Sparky and Munchie. His huge circle of friends and his work colleagues here in Dubai. To those of you who have physically carried me over the last dark days, thank you. To Z and Amor, whom have been absolute stalwart, advocating for and supporting Ed and his family, thank you. To my incredible parents, standing here at my side, and my siblings back home, I couldn't do this without you. Please keep me in your thoughts and your prayers. Eddie, you were my love. Eddie, you were my best friend. Eddie, you were my home. I love you, and you'll have a special place in my heart forever. Rest easy until we meet again. All day, no quit.
Came in through the embers, stayed there for the breeze. Need to feel elements to remind me there's beauty when it's bleak. Snuck along before lights down. What do I breathe? Oh, I know the more that I love, the less that I feel. The times that I jumped, never worried. See that all scars are healed, but I know maybe I won't. But the waves won't break my boat. But the waves won't break my boat. Stones crash on the boardwalk, wind was through the trees. I keep my eyes peeled, memories will fall short of what we could have been. Bless our Lord for the last call. What do I need? I know the more that I love, the less that I feel. The times that I jumped, never worried. See that all scars are healed, but I know maybe I won't. But the waves won't break my boat. But the waves won't break my boat. But the waves won't break my boat. The waves won't break my boat. more that I love, the less that I feel. The times that I jumped never were real. See that all the scars are here, but I know maybe I won't, and the waves won't break my boat, and the waves won't break my boat, and the waves won't break my boat, and the waves won't break my boat.
Unfortunately, we aren't able to let everyone come up and speak here tonight, even though there are many stories and memories people have that haven't been mentioned or shared. But we ask you to stay around and chat with others about Eddie's wonderful life. There's 2 book of condolences that are for Caroline and Eddie's family that we would like you to sign that are down the back. Again, thank you all to everyone that has attended this evening. It has been incredibly special. And to those of you who have watched from around the world, sleep tight, Eddie. You were 1 in a million. Your memory will stay with us forever. If we could all join in singing one last song, a song Eddie loved, and one that would have him smiling from ear to ear. Conleth, you can take it away.
She stands in the moonlight, she touches her hair, her smile adds emotion, her love fills the air, and I know you're my every tomorrow, and I know that you'll always be there, and we've got the world tonight, let's hold on together, and we've got love that's right, so open your heart, 'cause we've got tonight. We move even closer with hope in our eyes, 'cause love is the answer to the hurt and the lies, and I know you're my every tomorrow, and I know that you'll always be there, 'cause we've got the world tonight, let's hold on together, and we've got love that's right, so open your heart, 'cause we've got the world tonight, let's hold on together, and we've got love that's right, open your heart, 'cause we've got tonight.
sorry for anyone just there as well, that if you would like to come up and meet Caroline and the friends and family, and she's up here as well, I just request that we obviously do it in a orderly fashion, but if you want to meet her, absolutely come on up. Thank you.